It's never been tried before. Exactly 174 years after the start of the Forlorn Hope journey, 4 people are set to cross 100 miles on foot across the Sierra Nevada mountains.
They hope to honor the 17 members of the Donner Party that set out on snowshoes with hopes to reach a settlement near Sacramento. After the 33-day journey, only 7 survived. Starting tomorrow morning, Bob Crowley, Tim Tweetmeyer, Jennifer Hemmon, and Elka Reimer will begin their journey from Donner Lake to Johnson's Ranch.
And all 4 of them join us live now and on Zoom. And so thank you for being here. And we're just hours before you begin this. So Elka, let's start with you. What's going through your mind right now?
Gosh, well, I've got all my gear packed up, and I'm just hoping that I have the right gear for the right conditions, given that we've got some weather hopefully ahead of us, and I'm hoping to watch Mark Finan to get the details of that, actually. So making sure that we have the right gear for the right weather, and then also just really making sure that the conditions we are prepared for the conditions, whatever they might be, especially with the river crossing in the North Fork, not knowing exactly what the water level will be like there. But most importantly, trying to be as much as we can be in the minds of those people from 1846. And for me, especially the women, 3 of these women had to leave children behind as they sought help on the other side. So I will definitely be in the thought process of what they were thinking.
And be sure to report back to us when you know what those river levels are, so we can pass that along to Mark, and he will give very specific forecasts coming up. I'm also curious, and maybe let's talk to you, Tim. Why even do this? Why put yourselves through this? I know you're all great athletes, but why do this?
We were just captured by the story of the Forlorn Hope. When you think of the Donner Party, often it's told as mistakes, bad luck, and dire consequences back at the lake. But we, as athletes and trail aficionados and adventurers, we thought that the story could be written for the Forlorn Hope as they kind of conquered, they fashioned their own snowshoes and made it over the pass and made the 90 to 100 mile trek. After being almost hopelessly lost in the North Fork of the river, they overcome ridiculous obstacles and just showed an unwavering will to get to Wheatland so they could actually get help back to their families back in Donner Lake. So it's just a compelling story, and we thought it was worth retelling just because oftentimes the story concentrates on the Donner Party and not necessarily the Forlorn Hope, which we thought, as athletes adventure was a great historic trek.
Yeah, it seems like that's a great point you make there, Tim. So, Jennifer, let's go to you. Tell us something that you are hoping to personally accomplish with this.
Well, I echo a lot of what Elka and Tim said, but my hope is to put the entire journey through the eyes of the individuals, the personalities we now come to know who are on the Forlorn Hope, and to see the entire trek through the eyes of these individuals who, like Tim said, showed immense courage. They had intense suffering, many losses, and they persevered. It would have been easier to give up, and they didn't. Even in the face of fear and losing their leader, and even for the young women who had lost both their father and their husband on the trail, they continued on simply because they knew they were the only hope for their family back at the lake. And I just want to put myself in that mindset to see the entire trail through what they must have felt when they saw the weather come in. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the most important thing we can do to pass on.
Bob, I'm just curious, for the safety of all of you, are there going to be people that are following? And I mean, how does this work? Because we don't want you guys to get lost. Who's making sure you guys are okay? That's my question.
Luckily, we have a very professional group of support folks, a small group, but they're all professionals, as we are. We've spent decades in the wild together and separately, so we're confident. We know where we're going. We promise we won't get lost, and no one will have to come find us.
All right, you heard it here. If one talker 3 has to go out there. No, I'm just kidding. All right, we wish you guys the very best and all the safety, obviously, and what a great story you're going to help retell. You can follow their journey on their website, forlornhope.org. That's FORLORN hope.org.
Really fascinating. fascinating that they're doing this, and I love some of the answers they gave to us to the reasons why. It makes a lot of sense.
I'm cold just thinking about it.
It's going to be cold.
It's going to be interesting to hear what they report back to us afterwards. So many of us.
Experienced hikers hiking to retrace Northern California history. It's been 174 years since the infamous Donner Party saga. But what about the efforts to try to save them? It was a walk from Donner Lake to Wheatland, known as the Forlorn Hope Journey. KCRA Brian Hickey live at Donner, where the group's historic trip started this morning.
That's right, and they started today knowing that there's a storm coming in, but they wouldn't have picked any other day to start because 174 years ago today, right here at this site where the monument marks the place of the Donner Party became stranded, is where the Forlorn Hope group set out on their effort to try to rescue their family and friends as they were trapped here in the Sierra. And today, a group of ultra-distance runners, 4 of them to be exact, are now, as we speak, trudging through the snow, heading towards the Donner Summit. Bob Crowley, Tim Tweedmeyer, Jennifer Hemmon, and Elka Rimmer are all on the trail right now, heading up towards Donner Summit and eventually down towards Wheatland, retracing the steps that the Forlorn Hope group took. It was a group of 10 men, 5 women, and 2 children. Some of them passed away along the way on what was a very difficult and arduous trail. At one point taking a wrong turn and ending up in the North Fork of the American River Canyon through very difficult terrain. And this group has spent 7 years studying the history and the accounts of what that trip was all about, trying to figure out exactly where they went. And today they've set out on what they believe to be the path that the Forlorn Hope group followed.
For us, it's an opportunity to not just think about where we're going, but what we're doing and why we're doing it. And of course, we're reflecting constantly on the Forlorn Hope, all 15 of them.
Now, this group is made up of very accomplished ultra-distance runners. They've all done 100-mile runs more than one time. In fact, Tim Tweedmeyer has done the Western States Trail 25 times and done all 25 efforts in under 24 hours. So it's not so much about the athletic endeavor for this group, although they will face some serious physical challenges. They say it's more about helping to bring light to the Forlorn Hope group. A lot of people focus on the folks that were stranded here at Donner Park, Donner Memorial State Park, and of course the cannibalism and the other tragic parts of that story. But lost in some of that is the tale of the Forlorn Hope group, which really set out against very difficult odds on homemade snowshoes in search of help. Deirdre?
They're so immersed in the history. I mean, they're really respectful of the effort that went into trying to save them.
They got choked up even talking about it. And the beautiful part of this story is that direct descendants of some of the Donner Party members, the Graves family, have reached out to them, sent them letters, they've talked to them. And so they are actually carrying some of those letters. And in the shadow of the monument here this morning, they actually read some of those letters, got choked up, embraced each other, and really got caught up in that moment. Because again, that is what this trip is all about for them. Again, not so much a physical endeavor, but just honoring the memory of that group. And so that is, and I'll tell you, they've got a little beacon on, a little spot, GPS, and so every 5 to 10 minutes it uploads a dot on their map on their website, forlornhope.org. We'll link that at KCRA.com for you, where you can see where they are in what they believe will be a 5 to 7 day journey. We'll have to see how the storm treats them tonight.
Yeah, no kidding. Be interesting to talk to them when they're back. Thank you. Well, right now, a group of experienced hikers is getting ready to retrace Northern California history. It's been 174 years since the infamous Donner Party saga.
Well, what about the efforts to save them? It was a walk from Donner Lake to Wheatland, known as the Forlorn Hope Journey. KCRA3's Brian Hickey's live at Donner Lake with us this morning, where the group's historic trip will begin. Good morning.
And it had already started. They were out of here. They said a few words, read some letters actually from relatives of the families of the Forlorn Hope group, and then they took off. These ultra distance runners didn't let any grass grow to their feet if grass was growing up here in the snow this morning. But we're here at the Donner Memorial State Park, where you can see the memorial to the Donner Party, and this is where a group known as the Forlorn Hope group set out. 17 of them, 10 men, 5 women, and 2 children, set out on a journey to try to seek help from Wheatland. So from Donner Lake to Wheatland, and that is the trail that this group is attempting to retrace today. But really there isn't a trail. They've had to go out and through 7 years of research try to discover where the Forlorn Hope group went. And to the best of their research, they've got a plan in place. And we've got some of their relatives right here. We've got Sophia and Travis Hemmon. Your mom, Jennifer, is out there right now walking through the snow. How do you feel about this?
It's awesome. I mean, I'm so glad that she's
Fiji in beast mode and Team Curl. I love the show. She's awesome. So Travis, I have no doubt she's prepared for anything that this mountain can throw at her, although the climate's a little different here than Fiji.
Yeah, she's really excited. And one of her life sort of lessons is get out, do things with other humans. And with COVID, it's been very hard. So I think the timing of this event is perfect because we're all tired. We all want to be together and go do something active. So I'm excited about this trip for that.
And when you look at the group, I mean, she is with a very a group that has accomplished a lot. I mean, you've got Tim Tweemeyer, who has finished the Western States Trail 25 times. He's won the race 5 times, and I should say all 25 of those trips were sub 24-hour journeys on that 100-mile endurance race. So these people know how to suffer.
Yes, yeah, pain tolerance, she said. High pain tolerance, exactly.
Do you have a little bit of that in you?
Yes, hopefully. Yeah, she's
Distance learning and finals.
We're having a different journey right now.
All right, well, they're somewhere between here and Donner Summit right now. Last time we saw them, they were heading up what looked like towards Old 40 as they're getting ready to head up to the Donner Summit, and then from there, probably head to, I think they're heading near Big Bend or somewhere along that area tonight. So pretty big day ahead of them of hiking, and you can follow them, forlornhope.org. They've got a little spot beacon that's setting up every 5 minutes, a locator, and so you can actually track their progress on their map. And their website has a great history of the Forlorn Hope group, all the research that they've done, and how they hope to honor what that team set out to do to rescue what remained of the Donner Party here stuck in the snow. Back to you guys.
What a support team. It's great.
That is great. All right, thank you, Brian.
An update for you tonight on the Forlorn Hope expedition on day 2 of their 100-mile journey from Donner Lake to Wheatland.
And the 4 endurance athletes spent their first night in the snow near Big Bend as the storm buried their camp. We caught up with them on the trail near Eagle Lakes where their spirits were high. This team is retracing the route that was taken by members of the Donner Party who hiked out of the Sierra in search of help. And of course, these hikers today are mindful of their modern advantages.
We can only imagine how it was for them because it's tough for us, and we're in shape and we have the best gear possible. It's still really hard, and you know, they had blankets, they had homemade shoes, and they had 600 calories a day allocated to them. We're burning 10 to 12,000 calories each.
Today's leg of the expedition retraced an important leg of the original trip. The Forlorn Hope Party made a wrong turn toward the North Fork of the American River and some very difficult terrain.
Sacramento Republic.
Well, the Forlorn Hope expedition completed their 100-mile journey from Donner Lake to Wheatland, and we have been following the group since the beginning of their trip. We met up with them earlier this week after they spent their first night in the snow near Big Bend as the storm buried their camp. This is video of them on the trail near Eagle Lakes where spirits were high. The team retraced the route taken by members of the Donner Party who hiked out of the Sierra in search of help.
Every day served up something special, surprises for us, even though we thought we knew the trail. Mother Nature intervened and provided a nice storm early on, which coated all the trees and made the trekking a little tougher. We were on snowshoes a lot longer than we thought we would be. Almost 2 full days of snowshoeing. And then, you know, the North Fork of the American Canyon, which is incredibly beautiful but wild, was as tough as we thought. And we had a couple of, 9-mile days, and but the weather cooperated. And all the way along, we reminded ourselves, of course, where the Forlorn Hope were at that time in 1846-47. And we had a number of moments where we felt their presence.
Just trying to get in the minds of those who did this in 1846 to 47, through the High Sierra. And thankfully we had a storm come in so that we could get a feel for what it was like to be out there hiking. As the snow was coming down and being able to feel a little bit of what they felt, we camped in the snow, which is something that I'm accustomed to. I love to do it, but again, we have our equipment. They didn't have any of that. So, each evening we sat around a campfire and we talked about the day, and we talked about where we were and what they went through during that time in that place to really get a good feel of what they must have gone through at any given time.
This story is about the Forlorn Hope. These people that, they weren't athletes, just a bunch of Midwestern farmers or whatever. And then to make this trek where they thought it was going to be 10 days and it took them 33 days with just what they started with.
we thought there was a story to be told, so we said the best way to tell that story would be to go and do it ourselves.
We just said over and over again, we still don't understand how they survived. I know why they survived, and that's because they loved their families, and they wanted to get back to their children. One of them had a 10-year-old and a 17-year-old and 6 other children to get back to. So I don't know how they did it, but I know why they did it.
The Forlorn Hope Expedition posted updates on their website throughout their 100-mile journey. Sacramento